Rise and shine, everyone. It is Friday, March 28th, 2025, and thank you for joining us here on WEAC TV 24 on the Rise and Shine program with the Alabama Cares program. We have another guest lined up this morning with great information. Dawn Wachs is a registered nurse with At Home Foot Care. Good morning, Dawn.
Good morning.
Oh, and they have my birthday up there. My birthday was Wednesday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, they're sneaky over here. Thank you, guys. and I have to do a shout out too, because my workers surprised me on set and they decorated my set for me. I mean, this is so
nice.
Wonderful. Yes, they're so sweet. Yeah, I'm blessed. I have the best team, and MJ, our producer and director, are back. Well, behind the scenes, you can't see him, but he's awesome too. But good morning. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
And you informed me that while working in hospice, you found that many of your patients had difficulty in caring for their own feet, you said. And you said it resulted in like thick, elongated toenails, other kind of problems that often cause pain, and they couldn't wear shoes. And you said many of your patients, family members, and nurses, you felt uncomfortable trying to help them and cut them and so forth, and you contacted a lot of podiatrists, correct, and other resources, and you like everything that you could think of, and you just couldn't find anyone to help your clients, and you could, especially they couldn't get out to the podiatrist anymore. They couldn't get out to them, so you got frustrated. That led you to some research, and you finally found a solution. So you became a certified foot care specialist.
I did.
So what made you pick this specialty area of nursing?
Well, I've been a nurse for about 30 years, but 20 have been in hospice.
Oh.
And so you see a lot of people who can't get out of the house anymore. Some a little in home health as well, but most of them are leaning towards trying to get back out, although it doesn't always work for them.
Right.
They're doing therapy and things like that. Just trying to get out and get to the podiatrist is hard, and going to a salon for a lot of them is tough as well. That a lot of them have been told don't go to the salon if they have diabetes, heart disease, neuropathy, things like that. It can, not that they don't clean the instruments or anything in the salons, they do a great job, but they're not trained to do health-based care for the nails.
Right.
So as a nurse, I went out to Washington to the AFCNA, which is the American Foot Care Nurses Association, and I learned out there with Dr. Julia Overstreet, and she did my hands-on training, and I came back and started doing it part-time while I still did hospice.
Oh, wow.
But now I do it pretty much full-time.
So do you don't recommend somebody that has a health issue go to a salon?
I would leave that up to their doctor, but a lot of them will tell you not to, just because if there is any kind of issue, they'll just say, hey, you need to go see your doctor, where I can call your doctor and see if they want us to get you on in there. A lot of times they'll listen to the nurse a little quicker than they will somebody else.
That's true too. And I guess you can't be 100% sure that all salons are sanitary and all the salons are going to clean their instruments or know what they're doing and how to handle what's going on with you, especially with diabetes. I would think that you might have like sores, or that
you can have sores already. Neuropathy, a lot of people have really tender. Some people feel nothing when they have neuropathy, or it just diminishes and diminishes over time, while other people have such super sensitive feet that they really can't hardly tolerate you touching them. So you have to. It can be either way.
So what causes neuropathy? I mean, what can you tell the audience? I mean, what can cause that?
You have damage to the nerves, and it's based on circulation generally. So diabetes, heart disease, and those type of things all skew your circulatory system out of whack. And then
gout do that as well?
Gout can do it as well. Not quite to the extent, but some with gout. And once that happens, then the nerves aren't getting the blood supply that they need, and so your feet stop having the sensation that they should have. So you could step on something and not even know. I have had people that have something stuck in their toe or on the bottom of their foot, and they don't even know that it's there. So.
Oh, that's amazing. So you said that is it the WOCN, the wound, ostomy, and Continence Nurses Society also has a Fit Care program?
They do. I'm not quite as familiar with theirs just because I'm not part of theirs, but so there are the two different agencies, and it's not a huge specialty of nursing in the United States. It's actually very big in Canada, Europe, especially like the UK, and Australia has a pretty strong nurses society doing it. I don't know if that's because it falls under their normal insurance or what. In the States,
their insurance would be different than ours.
Yeah, and in the States, it's private pay. The nurses don't get paid by your Medicare or whatever to pay for it.
Okay,
But
so why would someone call you rather than a pedicurist? I mean, what? I mean, so they. I mean,
a pedicurist or a podiatrist.
a podiatrist. I'm sorry.
Well, they can get it paid for from their podiatrist if they have certain other health conditions, diabetes and those type of things. Sometimes they call me simply because they can't get there
Gotcha.
to the podiatrist.
Because you make home visits.
I do. I come to the house. Sometimes they call because their provider doesn't do it anymore. I have a couple of podiatrists that refer to me directly. When somebody calls and says, I just need to get my toenails trimmed, they're really thick and I can't do it anymore. And some of the podiatrists now, their reimbursement is not very high. Medicare doesn't pay them much of anything for it. And they'll say, well, you know, we just stopped doing that. So they'll refer them out.
Oh, wow. So these poor people are at home, like you said, and it's hard for them to get out because they're on hospice. I mean, when somebody's on hospice, usually they're homebound. So
And you don't have to be, but
but
primarily
usually,
they are.
Right, and just like people on Medicaid waiver that are homebound, do you see a lot of those
I
as
have
well?
I have a few. Since they are paying out of pocket, it kind of depends on their financial situation. Some people that probably would. I have sometimes people that call and they want to use my service, but they can't.
Right.
They can't afford to.
And I would assume not only is it hard for them to do their own nails and so forth, but because of their loss of sight, arthritis, issues they can't hold.
Or their back, they can't get down.
Right.
You know, you have to. It's a lot more work getting down there than it used to be. You know.
Wow. We're learning a lot of new things today. So the circulation issues we talked about and the heart disease, and you have to take extra precautions. What precautions do they need to take? I mean,
They need to check their feet daily. I know it seems like kind of crazy that you need to look at your feet, but just because you're glancing down there at them doesn't mean you're really looking at them.
Right.
So getting a long-handled mirror, you can usually get them pretty cheap at most places. You can, and depending how far you can bend, you can probably even get something that you could use with a sort of long handle from even the Dollar Tree. They also have them that are made to look underneath cars, and they have you see it's on a long metal thing.
Very
and
innovative.
It's about this
yes.
big,
Yes.
and it's got usually a magnified side, and you
Right.
can look, and that's enough. You just need to be looking under your feet and make sure that there's nothing under there. You haven't had an injury that you didn't notice or anything. Although it's a lot more rare, anything stuck to under your foot. And check your shoes as well, because you can get something in your shoe and not, especially, you know, if you have poor feeling in there. You've got something that got stuck in there, you stepped on in a pile of dirt and it went in your shoe, and then you didn't know you had a little piece.
Like that.
Yeah, normally we just go, oh, there's something in my shoe, and we dump it out. But if your nerves are not working like they should and you have neuropathy, then you may not notice it. So then you get a sore.
So do, like, I guess poor foot care lead to other health issues?
Yeah, you can get wounds, and if you have the circulation issues and poor nutrition, a lot of your patients who are home health and hospice, or even if you're just not eating well. You see it a lot with your dementia folks. They're not eating well, and all those will lead to the fact that if you get an injury, you're not going to heal as well as you should. So there you're going to be looking at wounds. I have some patients who have lost toes and stuff in the past with their diabetes. I have one patient who he lost one leg. He teases me every time I see him because he says, "Don't I get to pay half price?"
Stay away from him, so that. But at least he's got a good sense of humor.
He does. He's wonderful.
But yeah, at least he's got a good sense of humor about it.
I didn't do it. It happened before I got there.
Right. But and I can see that because we work a lot with dementia patients and so forth, and they can no longer voice to you what's going on with them or what hurts or any of that. So that would be something that the caregiver would need to learn what to look out for as well, wouldn't they?
It's just like having a sore on your bottom. You know, if they're bed bound or chair bound, or even primarily in the bed or the chair, you don't normally think about it, and you just automatically scooch around in your chair or in the bed or whatever, and take pressure off on your own, but that's because we have a feeling of discomfort, and so we just automatically move around and don't even think about it. You probably squirmed around and didn't think about it in your chair, but people, especially those who have dementia and stuff, they don't think to do that, or they're not able to do that anymore, and they'll get wounds. You can get them on the back of your feet, you can get them on your bottom, you can get them in your shoes. Sometimes I have people on the tips of their toes where their feeling is bad, and so they didn't notice, and the tips of their toes have been digging into the top of their shoes, or their toenails have gotten so long that they're coming around the bottom and poking into their feet, and they'll have a little sore and didn't even know. And
so shoes and the correct size, I'm sure, has a lot to do with that as well, because maybe now that they're older and they have issues, maybe they need to go up a size. Or
a lot of times you need to go up a size. Your feet grow an average of 2 sizes during your lifetime. Once you hit your normal, you hit adulthood, past your teens, you have 1 size, and then by the time you age out, you're up at size and a half, 2 sizes. You probably don't wear the same size you did in high school.
No, I was probably like a half size smaller in high school, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of women notice it more because it happens, a lot of times it happens during pregnancy. The ligaments relax, which is the same thing that happens to you as you age. It just happens a lot faster when you have a baby.
Right.
Your body automatically does it.
Well, we're going to continue to talk with Ms. Dawn about all things feet. So we are going to go to a word from our sponsors. You are watching WEAC TV 24 Rise and Shine with Alabama Cares program. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
At First Class Roofing and Solar, we are not here to sell you a roof. We are here to get your insurance to buy you a roof. From roofing to gutter installation and detaching and resetting solar panels, we've got you covered. So Mr. Ward, was it easy working with us?
Yes, you guys handled everything with my insurance company, and the hardest thing I had to do is pick out the color for my shingles.
Leave the hassle to us. We'll handle the insurance process so you don't have to. Get your free estimate today. Call 989-THE-GOAT and let us take care of your roof and your insurance too.
Since 1848, First Bank of Alabama has been serving East Central Alabama, now serving 6 counties in East Central Alabama. We now currently have 13 locations, expanding to 15 locations. In 2024, we opened Anniston, right here in Calhoun County. Whenever we first came to Calhoun County, it was 2019 in Oxford. Whenever we're expanding, we're now going to Jacksonville in 2025. We look forward to continuing to be in your local hometown bank, right here in Calhoun County and East Central Alabama.
I'm Alan Parnell, the Parnell Insurance Agency. We've been here in Oxford and Alabama, Tallapoosa, Georgia since 1990. With Auto Owners Insurance, we're able to give customers competitive pricing along with excellent coverages. Parnell Insurance can handle all of your personal, commercial, and life insurance needs. We have a very experienced staff, both personal and commercial. All together, we've got about 125 years experience. Come see what our insurance agency can do for you in Oxford, Alabama and Tallapoosa, Georgia.
Auto Owners Insurance.
Whether you are traveling or on the rebound, get with your local Allstate and huddle up to find the best options for you. With a strong variety of coverages to choose from, Allstate is on a mission to get you in good hands today.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program. We are here with Dawn Wachs, and she is a foot specialist, a foot nurse specialist, I guess you would say, a nurse that specializes in feet, right?
All of the above.
So, yes, that's. I mean, it's things that you don't really. I mean, that you need to think about. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, we take so much for granted, people. I mean, we really do.
Yeah.
But we need to take care of all of us, and that's including our feet.
Right.
And I know that I had melanoma a few years back, and I remember my dermatologist telling me, your skin's the biggest organ of your body, but people don't take care of it. You go out in the sun and you do this and you do, and when you put it that way, when it's the biggest organ of your body, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, okay, well maybe I need to take care of it. And the same way with, like you were talking about how all these different other types of diseases affect your feet, and how we take care of our feet affects like everything, so if you don't go to their house, do you have an office?
I do not have an office. I primarily do go to patients' homes, but I also go to assisted livings, independent livings, retirement communities, and a few skilled nursing facilities.
Okay.
The skilled nurses facilities, they generally have a podiatrist on staff, but some people just want it done more often, but the podiatrist usually only comes every 3 months. On the other hand, there's some people that come in for rehab, and the nurses there find a problem, and it's going to still be the podiatrist maybe just came, and it's going to be another 3 months before they come again. So rather than wait another 3 months, sometimes they'll give them my number, and I can go and see them there as long as the administration is okay with it.
Right, and we just showed the number on the screen, so they could call that number. Our audience can call that number if they have questions, or
you can call or text me.
So with that said, how do you get paid? Because you did briefly state that Medicare or Medicaid won't pay for it. So,
right.
So
unfortunately, it's private pay.
Okay.
Of course, if you go, to the pedicure shop, it is as well. So,
well, that's true too.
I do that myself.
Yeah. So if you go to the salon, you have to pay for that too. Your insurance doesn't pay for that either. So.
And I like the massage chair, so I go, and I know that they clean their instruments. They have really strong regulations and stuff, but. And I like the fact that I get the chair while they're doing it. So, and I don't have one; I can't carry it around with me. But but I do give them a little massage at the end, with some lotion and stuff. So,
but Medicare and insurance providers, they don't.
They do not. I have had a couple of people that say that their insurance will reimburse them. I don't know really how that works, except that I have to give them a receipt. And
okay, but. And the information that you gave me, what was so interesting is that they reimburse podiatrists, but they don't reimburse nurses.
No, not unless I work specifically for them.
And then you went and had training too.
I did.
To specialize in this, so that's very odd.
It's above and beyond your regular. In nursing school, they actually say, don't cut the toenails, don't cut the toenail. Like, it's a really big deal. And I don't remember why. I remember thinking I don't understand why.
Right.
But then once I went and had the training, then I understand why, because there's all those other things involved. But as a new nurse in school, all I know was they said don't do that, so we didn't do that.
So it makes sense now because you need to have special training.
It does.
You need to have special training. Well, that would make sense though, because there's so many other things going on, and you could hurt someone, and especially if somebody has wounds and all of that. That's serious. I mean, you would need to know how to take care of that.
And it is good for me that most of my patients come from home health and hospice nurse referrals, or social workers and other people in that industry, because I have a direct line to somebody if I find an infection, and sometimes I do, but not all that often. If I find one, I can call directly to them and say, hey, I found this, and they usually say, send me some pictures and I'll get them to the doctor and we'll get something ordered. So,
and do you ever see things that are not long-term, that are just short-term, just because somebody doesn't take care of their feet, and you can say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and it's going to go away, and you'll be fine, or
Yeah,
you see that?
a little. Most of the stuff I see is usually pretty long-term, but I think if I were in a podiatrist's office where I was seeing a younger clientele, I probably would run into that more. But most of my folks, I have people that range from 55 to 105.
Oh, wow. So what would somebody expect from a visit from you? What?
I do a brief history, ask them, you want to know about circulation, heart disease, kidney disease, those type of things, diabetics, blood thinners, any of that, and then
that would be important.
yeah. Yeah, you don't want, that's another thing, you know, you don't want to cut somebody's toe accidentally and then it's bleeding and bleeding and you don't know how to stop
Yeah,
it.
you don't know why it keeps bleeding.
Yeah, so I do that, and then I trim the nails, even those big, thick, yucky nails that people can't cut. I have some things that kind of look like wire cutters that I cut with.
Oh, wow.
Please don't use wire cutters on somebody.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
But I have some instruments that are similar to that are real thick cutting stuff. And then I can trim down any of the corns and calluses. I do check for neuropathy. I have a little monofilament. It's sort of a monofilament is a fishing line, but it's thicker than a regular fishing
graphic
line.
of that as well, where you the points where you
right, they're poking.
where you poke to make sure that they have feeling in their feet.
Yep,
Yes,
that's
there
it.
it is. The
And,
points. Yeah.
Mine is, my little monofilament thing is shaped a little different, but it's the same thing. And I check feeling with that to make sure that they have sensation in their feet. There's a lot of people that don't know that they don't have good sensation in their
wow.
feet. You would be surprised how many people just don't show their feet to their doctor
Oh, wow.
or nurse. So
Interesting. And you soak their feet too while you're
I
there?
do not. We don't soak.
You don't soak? Okay.
They do at the podiatrist's office, and it feels great, and I love it. But the podiatrist that I trained with on the medical side of it, they say don't do that. If you have an infection, you could be sharing it with your other foot and moving it around to the other toes.
That's true too. Yeah.
Also,
that would make sense.
any fungal infections in your nails, you're just spreading that stuff around. So she says
Do not spread the love.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Do not spread
We're not
fungal
spreading
love.
the love on the feet now.
No, you don't want to do that. And then, of course, if they need to see a doctor, you would give them a referral to a doctor. Do you
Right.
refer locally? Where are you in Calhoun County?
I see patients in Calhoun, Talladega, a little bit in Etowah, St. Clair, Jefferson, and a little bit of Blunt. But I'm trying to get out of Blunt just because I want to be closer to home. And I really like coming this direction because I'm familiar. I did home health and hospice in this area for
that area
for
you're
a
kind
long
of like
time.
us. We have 10 counties,
Yeah.
so you're spread out
Yeah,
too.
I am. And we, part of the AFCNA, we have a group where you can, on Facebook, we can talk to each other. And so through that, I have learned that there are about 10 of us in the state.
Oh, okay.
And so if I don't service your area, hopefully I know somebody
Who will?
who will. And it doesn't cover the entire state, but we're trying to find people who either are doing that already.
Well, I guess
there,
people don't even really think about that. I mean, to specialize in that, you wouldn't even really think about it.
I have nurses all the time that say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing." So
Right. Well, I didn't know that was a thing until I met you. So, yeah, because the first thing you think of when you think of foot issues is a podiatrist.
Right.
That's what you think of.
Yeah.
You don't think of, oh, there's a nurse that specializes in that. You don't think about that.
well, there's cardiology nurses, but you see the doctor first,
Right.
which makes sense.
Right.
But if you're stuck at home, it's hard to get to them. So
Right.
then they call me.
Well, thank goodness for nurses. Yeah, that's awesome. So, so you said you do a massage with them too.
I do a little massage, knees down, and even the history that I do is primarily knees down. if I say, are you allergic to anything? Are you allergic to anything that I'm going to put on your feet? Because penicillin's not really an issue for me. I'm not going to give you any on the visit.
Right.
But some people have a latex allergy or an allergy to certain kinds of lotions and things like that.
Or fragrances or anything like that.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So what do you see most of when you go out and do visits? What is the most, I guess, common thing that you see?
Fungal infections in the toenails, and unfortunately it's so hard to get rid of.
Wow. And what causes that? I mean,
anything that compromises the nail. So it might be because they have poor circulation and they just got exposed to it and it got in there, where for you and I it might not have gotten in there because our feet are healthier. It could be circulation. Could be that they got their feet in something that wasn't cleaned good. Maybe they were in the military and they had their feet in the shower and didn't have shower shoes on, or so there's a lot of things.
That would make sense too.
Yeah.
So
Or at the
all
gym,
of
I
you
guess.
athletes out there,
Wear your shower shoes at the
your
gym.
athletes and your military people, or anybody that shares common shower areas, that's something that you need to be very aware of because it could cause other problems.
Yeah.
Serious problems.
Stuff you don't even realize, and it's hard to get rid of a lot of those things.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. So we are going to take another break. So hold that thought. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and you are watching WEAC TV 24 Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program, and we will be right back.
Cutter's Pizzeria is celebrating 5 years with 2 locations in Alexandria and Oxford, Alabama. Open Monday through Saturday for dine-in, takeout, and delivery. Y'all come on out for our popular 5-pound pizza, wings, salads, pastas, and more. You can find out more about Cutter's Pizzeria at cutterspizzeria.com.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I Want to Live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
At Bentley Prosthetic and Medical Supply, we care about you. We offer custom prosthetics, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and durable medical supplies. We're located here in Alexandria, Alabama, where it's a country feel, but professional care. Come see us today.
Hey guys, this is Blair Smith at Pediatrics Plus here in Anniston, located on Henry Road. I'm over here on the well side, but we do also have a sick side urgent care if you need us. We are more than happy to see you guys. Just come on, check us out if you get a fever, cough, or cold, or want to come in for a good checkup. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program. I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful Friday. It's Friday to me, but we're here with Don Wachs, and we're talking about our feet today and how important it is to take care of your feet. And we're just going to do a quick review right quick. So you said that in your visits you include foot and toenail assessments. You look for color. And you look for pulse, edema. What's some other things? And you said that you test for neuropathy. That's another thing that you do for sensation.
Right. And some people don't know what edema is. That's swelling when your feet are swollen. That's a lot of times because of your circulation. Generally, that's the issue. It can also be from other things, but that's primarily it. But I check for those, and then when we get done, the best part is you get a little massage from the knees down. If you have calluses and corns, I also will shave those down.
okay.
Which some people say that's the best part, but to me it's the lotion.
Always, you can never go wrong with
The
the
lotion and the
massage.
massage, yeah.
Can never go wrong with that. But you also reduce their nail length and their thickness. And like I said, well, like you said, you moisturize their skin and everything, a light massage. And you provide education to them as well.
I do.
As what to do to take care of their feet.
I end up doing a lot of education that maybe doesn't even have to do with their feet, although that's my primary purpose.
But while you're there.
But while I'm there,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, if you keep moving them up in the bed like that, you're going to hurt your back. Let me help you. Let me teach you how to do this. Or there's a lot of things just because I've been in the homes for 20 years that I know a lot of people are doing those things.
And our
the wrong
caregivers
way.
out there could use all the help they
They
can
do.
get.
They
I mean,
need
they
so
really
much
do.
help.
And I think it's wonderful too that you can educate the caregiver about how to take care of their feet, because we preach this all the time in our program that when you're a caregiver, you don't go to class for that.
No, you're just thrown in.
You are just thrown into that role. The doctor says, well, this person has, stroke patient, heart patient, cancer patient, dementia patient,
Right.
Alzheimer's patient, all these things. We're sending them home. And
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
I mean, the caregiver has no clue. So that's one of the reasons why we do this show every Friday too, is because we want to give free education to you viewers out there to let you know what's available out in our communities for you to better take care of the person you're taking care of, better to take care of yourself, how to prevent things
Right.
that ever happen to you, or if you're a younger person, if you're taking care of your mom and your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, or just good to know for when you get older, because I think education is key, and that's wonderful that you give education to them about, and we were talking about hygiene too.
Hygiene is big. Well, a lot of times in my role, a lot of times I get a call from a hospice or home health nurse or aide or something like that, and they say, well, this person just came on service and we were doing our assessment and we found that they've got these big long nails and nobody can cut them, so can you come out and cut them? And so they're all of a sudden, well, if you go to your grandma's house, you'd probably never see her without her shoes and socks on. And so it's not uncommon that they have an inch-long toenail that nobody noticed because nobody looked at their toes. So I find that cleaning between their toes, and usually it's for the patient probably because they can't get down there to do it. There's a lot of need. Make sure you get clean between the toes because they get kind of yucky. It's hard to get in the shower or it's hard to take a bath, and so they're just making sure they're hitting the hot spots.
Right.
We're going to make sure we get between, under your arms and between your legs and all those things, but maybe they don't think about their feet, especially if you can't see them good, so you're in the shower and you go, well, they're getting wet, I guess they're clean.
Right.
But they're not.
No. And you need to make sure to tell you. We were talking earlier in the break. You were talking about how they need to make sure if they have an aide that is coming to the home to give them a bath, to make sure that the aide is doing that.
Right. And if you are still able to get into the shower with or without help, if you can either get a washcloth and run between your toes, which that works great for a bed bath as well. But if you're able to get in the shower, they do have these washing, I'm not sure what to call them, aids, but it's a long stick, and on the end of it has a thing that is about this long and about a half an inch round maybe, and you can run it between your toes, so it's sort of like a bottle brush when you're washing,
like a bottle brush for your toes.
Yeah, but for between your toes, and that way you can get in between real good, and you don't have to scrub at them and make it hard. Don't hurt yourself if you've got a lot of stuff that's in between your toes. Take it slow. Just do it each time you're in there, and it will wear itself off. Just doing it a few times. So, and then you just continue after that, and it won't be an issue. But you don't want to make them sore because it's gotten in there and gotten really gross.
Because it can actually. Good hygiene with anything is not good, but especially with your feet, it can cause other issues like toe fungus and all those kind of things too, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, and if you don't get between the toes real good, and that dirt stays in between there, or sock fuzz or whatever it is, and it stays between your toes,
There's Mr. Foot saying,
Yeah.
please take care of me.
Then it can get stuck in there, and then if you kind of pry it out of there instead of doing it gently, you'll end up with a sore there. It'll pull the skin right off with it.
Oh,
And
ouch.
and sometimes you have a lot of moisture in between your toes.
So make sure to
Like
dry.
you call it jungle rot. Some of my veterans call it.
Oh, yeah,
jungle rot from being
Well, I
there in
remember-
Nam and stuff.
Well, my dad was a Vietnam vet, and I remember my dad saying that because back then, you know, they didn't have high-tech boots like they do now. They were just those black, flat.
Oh, my dad wore those for my whole life.
Yeah, and my dad like wore them hunting and everything. I remember him putting them on. But I remember my dad, you know, he didn't talk about Vietnam very much, but he would tell me that there was so many people that he went to Vietnam with that had, especially flat-footed soldiers, that because back then they really didn't, I guess, test or really like they do now.
They
but,
just needed them.
Right. But he was talk about how they would have to go through the jungle, and their shoes were not. I mean, they were not
waterproof.
and ready for that kind of terrain. So they had a lot of foot problems, which caused a lot of foot problems later on in life and so forth. So when somebody washes their feet, make sure that you dry between your toes very well too. That's very important too.
Right. And daily you should moisturize. I usually ask people to do it when they go to bed at night, so they don't have to worry about getting up in the next 5 minutes to go to the bathroom and slipping on the floor because their feet are slippery.
That's
so
true.
Do it when you're going to bed, but if you are diabetic, make sure you don't leave any lotion between your toes. Just do the same thing with the washcloth.
Make
and
sure
get
it's
it out.
rubbed in real good, or the excess is
Yeah,
off.
we don't need any extra moisture between your toes,
Right.
especially if you're diabetic or have circulation issues.
That's good to know. Yeah, because I always put heel balm and stuff on my feet. Sometimes, well, in the winter, I'll put socks on over it just so that it'll keep the moisture, you know, so that I don't get cracked heels or whatever. But that would be important to know if you're diabetic. How, I mean, just something as simple. You would think, well, it's just lotion, but that could cause moisture and can cause issues for somebody who's diabetic.
Yes, and a lot of people don't. Their feet just hold the moisture, or they're wearing the wrong kind of socks and they hold the moisture.
What kind of socks
instead
do
of
you
wicking.
think? What kind of socks should people wear?
Either something that has a high wicking for the
moisture wicking?
or a cotton, but don't try to stay away from those polyester socks. They just maintain the moisture in there, which is no good for.
Especially if you're sweating and all that. Oh, that wouldn't be good.
No.
So something that breathes. So something like cotton, which is a natural. So cotton or moisture wicking is what you need to look for.
And if you have swelling in your feet, edema in your feet, your doctor may have you wearing compression hose. But those also you can get in a moisture wicking. I think most of them are made that way on purpose.
Really?
Yeah. Just because it is such a common issue.
Well, that's true too, and those are not very comfortable.
They're not very comfy.
No.
When I worked in the floor in the hospital, we wore them, but that was just to keep your feet from swelling from running all day.
Yeah, being on your feet for 12 hours, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because I know that my husband, he's going to kill me, is supposed to wear compression, but because he has one foot that actually, and one leg that actually swells, and you know, and he wears them sometimes, like at home, but he's like, those things are so uncomfortable, you know.
Well, they do make them that have a zipper up the inside, and that makes it a lot easier to get them on and off.
I haven't seen
I
those.
think
that's fancy.
I think it's kind of new, but I've got a couple patients that have them, and so I've
We'll
been
have to look
pretty
into that.
excited about those.
Yeah, that's
because people
they
tend
are
to be a little
hard.
more common to use them if they're not so hard to get on,
I
because they're
actually
hard to
wear
get
them
on.
airplane rides. Like if I put compression socks on usually because it prevents you from getting clots and especially the pressure.
When you put them on, make sure that you're not doing it with your feet down, because when your feet are down, any circulation, any fluid, lymphedema, anything that you have in your feet, in your legs already from being down all day, you're just locking it in place.
So you have to just keep
you put them up.
put them up and then put them on.
So, or do it first thing in the morning before you've got up and start running all around the house.
Oh, that's very smart. Good to know. See, we're learning all kinds of things today. She is educating us. Wow, that's interesting. So, some of the other things that, and we'll talk about that too in our last segment as well, but just a few things right quick. What kind of shoes are best for people that have foot issues, people that still walk and all that? What kind of shoes are they needing to wear?
Well, the biggest thing is just to make sure that they fit well. You don't stay away from, you were wearing we were talking about earlier with wearing heels. You want to stay away from that. You want to stay away from anything that has a tight toe box. So at the end of your shoe is pointy. That's no good. You want
because your feet are
this is not the way your feet are shaped. They're not.
Because if you're like this and your feet, unless you get them really big,
right? And then you might slip out of them.
Yeah, right. So that would make sense.
Yeah.
So if you want,
I remember wearing some pointy shoes. Don't do that.
I still wear pointy shoes.
Me too. But you want to stay away from those. So you want something that has a bigger toe box. If you have any kind of fallen arches, any of those type of things, I would suggest you see a podiatrist. They will do that for you. Get you some either inserts for your shoes, or some of them sell shoes that specifically are made for that.
And we stress this. I stress this to clients a lot. I had one dementia patient who had a walker, and she wore flip-flops. Oh, Lord.
Flip-flops and slippers are no good. Please stay with us. Just a fall waiting to happen.
Something to stay on their foot. So you said make sure that they have plenty of room. So the size that you wore when you were 16 or 25.
Yeah. Most people do gain 1 to 2 foot sizes over their lifetime after they end puberty. So I know women, we see it quicker when we have a baby, because your ligaments automatically, the way your body is made, your ligaments relax so that you can have the baby easier, but your whole body relaxes the ligaments, not just around your uterus and those kinds of things. So you actually will usually get a little bit bigger feet while you're pregnant, and then
I've heard that.
And then if you're pregnant, then you may have more of that. And then as we age, that happens naturally. You also can have those problems again with the diabetics. They have multiple different issues that can happen to their feet just because it does.
Well, we are going to, I can't believe we're going into our last segment, so we're going to take a break and have a word from our sponsors. And you're watching WEAC TV 24, Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, welcome to Classic 13. How can I help you? I was thinking about getting a tattoo. Do I need to make an appointment? No, we take walk-ins every day. Let's find someone to help you. Follow me. Okay, if you'll have a seat right here. Thank you.
Come down to Classic 13, where good tattoos aren't cheap, and cheap tattoos ain't good.
At Alexandria Brake and Muffler, we strive to perform exceptional service using premium quality parts to ensure your vehicle withstands the test of time. We do all automotive maintenance and repairs consisting of AC service, check engine light diagnostics, brakes, coolant, and exhaust. Give us a call today. Proudly serving our community to provide honest, high-quality service and repair at a fair price.
At Southern States Bank, we pride ourselves on being your bank. We're your neighbors and involved in the community. We're the bank featuring the Southern Rewards checking account, a cashback account with no ATM fees. We are on the cutting edge and always have a smiling face to help you out. So come to Southern States Bank, where we are committed to great service and being a great neighbor. Let us be the bank for you and your business.
Hello, my name is Bob Couch, and I'm the owner of Couch's Jewelers. We are your destination for engagement rings, wedding bands, and anniversary and birthday gifts. We offer a wide selection of the best value diamond jewelry and engagement rings. We even gift wrap every purchase for free. And if you have some jewelry that is broken, no worries. Expert jewelry service is offered in-house. At Couch's Jewelers, our customer service is unmatched. If you would like a special jewelry item created just for you, please come to see us.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Rise and Shine program with the Alabama Cares program. I'm Ellen Tibbetts-Hurst, and this is Dawn Wachs, and she and I have been talking all things feet this morning. Things that I have learned a lot today. So we've talked about a lot of things about what you do when you do go out and do visits. We were talking a little bit before the break about shoes and the good shoes versus the bad shoes. So we definitely agreed that you need a shoe not so much pointy, especially if you're having issues, but something that has more room for you. And I'm going to go ahead and add for all of you caregivers out there that are taking care of our loved ones, especially if they have a walker. So please do not allow them to wear flip-flops. Please do not allow them to do that.
Flip-flops and slippers with the no heel. The back of the heel is open.
Open, yes.
Really bad. Because if they step back, I've done it myself. You slip back in my house slippers, and then all of a sudden my foot is coming out of there.
Right.
Well, if I can't see good, or I'm using a walker and I'm unsteady, or I wouldn't be using a walker, then you just have more chance of falling. So we don't need any more of those than we have. It's another thing I teach a lot about. Fall prevention.
Fall prevention.
A lot of that.
And I know that one of my closest friends had some foot issues, and the doctor got all over her because the shoes that she wore. She wore three of the different kinds of shoes that she wore she cannot wear anymore. One is flip-flops all the time, because he said those are horrible for your feet.
They are.
The flat summer sandals that have no anything in them, the ones that go between your toe, they have the little strap on the back of the foot, but still there's nothing there. And the third type of shoes she wore, and I know this is going to really upset a lot of you people out there, was Crocs.
Yeah.
He said they were horrible.
I was about to say the Crocs.
Yes, he said they were horrible for your feet. He said especially if you have feet issues. To her, she was like, oh.
Yeah.
So why is that? I mean,
they don't have any support.
No support. That's what I thought.
You don't have any arch support. You don't have any support on the sides. Especially, I mean, I don't know, they're made for somebody like Oscar the Grouch's feet are probably made. Like I just assume what his feet are like. I've never seen his feet, but I mean, you just think, Cookie Monster and them, their feet are probably like that, and that's how a Croc is shaped.
And when you put your foot in it, if you think of anybody, if you have a small foot especially, but even when you have a bigger foot, and you get your size, that your foot in that Croc, I can see where it wouldn't be good, because your foot moves around in there. There's nothing to support it. There's nothing to hold it or support it, and I guess that's why the doctor told my friend not to wear those.
Yeah, my stepson, when he was living at home, I think his shoes are like a foot, maybe a size larger than mine. But he would leave the Crocs at the back door all the time. So if I went to the mailbox, I would just slip the Crocs on, because it was easy. But my feet were all over the place in there.
Right. And I know that they were actually invented for people on boats, so that because of the way the bottom is, so that they wouldn't make skid marks on boats.
I guess I can see that.
Yeah, that's why they were invented. But then it became like a thing for everybody to wear, so like a fashion thing. Which I'm not a fan,
inside
but to each his own.
The foot on the bottom of my foot, it pokes them. They have little tiny little, I don't know what they are.
But wearing the correct shoe is very important, folks. Wearing the correct shoe.
Yes.
So what are some things that we can do to take care of our feet? If, just everyday, average person, just every day, what do we need to do?
Make sure you wash your feet every day. Just because the water's getting them wet in the shower doesn't mean they're getting clean. Also, make sure you dry in there. Even if you're not diabetic, you don't want too much moisture in between your toes and get athlete's foot and things like that.
Oh, that would be good.
And then you have the itchy, and you can get rid of it, but it's still irritating. So why do it if you don't have to?
Right.
Another thing is lotion or moisturize. a good moisturizer, something that's nice and thick. I like to use something with shea butter in it, but not between my toes. Just because it's thick, and I put it on before I go to bed, and then I'm not, getting up and falling down on my floors. Because I'm clumsy enough, I don't need any help. So any of those kind of things you need to make sure, and then just make sure you're wearing good shoes, a good supportive shoe that is not too big and not too small. And you can you don't have to go to a specialty store for that, but there's certainly some really good ones out there. We have a couple here in town that are great. And there's a few in Birmingham that I know of that are good. And then, you may need even some sort of insert in your shoe, like an arch support insert or heel supports. People do them for different things.
Right.
One thing I did think of, though, if you have any kind of corns, and you see the little patches at the store that have the ointment, you can drip that on there. Don't do those.
Oh.
Please don't do those, because that stuff doesn't know when to stop. So if you don't wash it off at the right amount of time, I have seen it that will just keep on eating, because it's an acid. So it just eats right in there until you think to take it off. And if you're
good to know,
if you're scatterbrained like I sometimes can be, I might forget that, and then
just keep it on there and go to sleep.
Yeah, you might, and the next thing you know, you've got a big wound you've got to try to get rid of.
Oh,
so
that would not be
just
good.
be careful of those type of things. Just because it's being sold doesn't mean it's necessarily good, and if in doubt, just check with your doctor.
Right.
Or your nurse.
Right, or your nurse, your nurse. So make sure that good hygiene, keep lotion on your feet. Correct shoes, people, is very important.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important.
Don't leave too much moisture in there. If you have sweaty socks, maybe you went hiking or something and your feet get really sweaty, just take some extra socks so you can change those out and continue what you're doing, and that's fine.
And an extra set of shoes maybe, or something to change in after you've, because a lot of athletes do that, you know, for recovery and everything.
Golfers, my dad used to do that a lot. He'd have some extra socks.
Right, and the correct socks, remember, cotton.
Yes.
Moisture
wicking.
Mm-hmm. No polyester.
Not polyester.
Blend.
Those really cute polyester ones that have flowers and stuff, they're cute, but they're not good.
Yeah, I may or may not have on a pair of those right now.
I would probably be wearing those.
Yeah, I have some socks on that's got little bows on it.
They might be fine. I don't know.
She is calling me out now. But it's very interesting. I mean, I love to learn new things, and I hope you guys do too. That's why we do this every Friday. But it's very important. I mean, and what's the importance of keeping your toes trimmed and clean?
If you don't keep them nice and clean, you get a lot of, that can get impacted under your toenails. I mean, some of it is dirt, but a lot of it's just skin cells.
I was about to say, a lot of it's skin, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it's just skin cells or sock fuzz.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
I mean, you don't think about it, but, all those little fibers have to go somewhere. So they'll get stuck under your toes sometimes. And then, so you need to try to make sure you get that out. It's not usually an issue for it coming out as long as your nails are not too long.
But I could see where it would get impacted under there, because if you don't clean under your toenails, like you would, just like you do your fingers, like your fingernails, I could see if you don't clean your toenails where the fuzz and the skin cells and all that could get impacted, and that could cause some issues too, because that could cause some pain maybe.
Right,
and
pain, infection, any of those type of things from that. So it's real important to make sure you do that. If you're cleaning with the washcloth, you're probably getting it out of there, just because unless it is getting impacted in there. Also, just making sure that the nails are not too long, because when they do get long, especially if it's somebody they get really long and you don't notice it, the longer you're wearing the shoes, or depending on the way your toes are shaped, because some people's get misshapen through their lives, the nails end up bending with the foot and the toe, and so you'll end up with them reaching around and digging in the bottom of your foot.
That would be painful.
So imagine this one is your toe, and your nail is growing, and your shoe is pushing, and after a little while, you've got this toenail
that's just going over your toe.
And then it just keeps on, so it digs, and you've got a hole starting underneath your toe. So when I cut that big long inch long toenail off of there, sometimes I find wounds on the bottom and that the toenail has caused.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, sometimes they're pretty rough.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. I mean, it gives you a lot to think about, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
But
Everybody's going to go, after everybody watches this show this morning, they're going to go in the shower and start looking at their feet.
Go and check your family, your elder peoples, your disabled peoples. Just take a peek at their toes every once in a while. You'd be surprised how many of them have never shown their toes to a doctor and don't even know if they have an issue going on down there.
Well, and that's something that you don't really think about, though.
Oh,
I got to go to a doctor's appointment. You don't think, I need to show them my feet. You don't think about that because you're thinking of
all those other things.
Yeah, you're thinking of skin. You're thinking of what's other things that you're thinking about? You're thinking
your heart,
your
whatever.
your diabetes, your blood work.
Right. When I would go see my granddaddy, I mean, he was taking care of my grandmother. He was independent. He was very with it, knew everything that was going on. Until I started doing this, I never looked at his feet. Why would I?
Right.
And he didn't.
True.
He thought the same thing when I asked him. When I did start doing this,
what
and I
are
was
you
like,
doing?
"Hey, Pop, I need to look at your toenails." And he was like, "Why?" You know, and I said, "Well, you know, what if they're not good and we don't know?" And he said, "I'm only going to show you because you're a nurse and I know that." And that's the only reason he showed me. But then I saw, though, his were kind of long, and I was like, you know, let me cut them for you. Well, he was 90, you know.
Oh, wow.
And he said he actually came out and told me, I cut them with my pocket knife and I've been doing it my whole life. And I said, and you still have all your toes. It's a surprise.
Surprise. He didn't cut all his toes off with his pocket knife.
Yeah, so people just do crazy things
and
out
with
there.
all the things that he probably cuts, all the other things he cuts with his pocket knife.
There's no telling what he used that for.
Yeah. Guys,
so please don't do that.
Take care of your feet.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Just like if it was your hands. So you have to, I guess, think of it that way too, because they're just a little part of you as well. But I mean, you wouldn't, and I don't think of that either. Just simple things as socks. You know, I don't think, oh well, I need to get moisture wicking cotton socks. You know, I get socks because they're cute. I'm a girl.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But I mean, that makes sense too, and it makes and let me ask you this: how about white socks versus black socks? You always hear this thing, you know, you shouldn't wear colored socks, but especially in the summertime because when you sweat because of the dyes in the socks. I've heard all kinds of crazy things.
I don't think that's a thing. I've
heard all kinds of crazy things about that.
Yeah.
So. And actually, from health professionals, I've heard about that.
Well, maybe they know something I don't know.
But,
I can't say
that was
they
a
don't.
long time ago. Maybe it's come a long way now.
But I think pretty much if, as long as you're wearing something that's moisture wicking and those type of things, I think you're probably pretty safe.
Right.
And they're clean. Make sure you put on a clean pair every day.
But that's a good idea, though, if you're you know, in sports, if you're an athlete, or if you're just going for a hike on the weekend with your friends, or, I mean, we live in the South. It's hot. Yes.
Hot and sweaty.
And if you're in the military, in the National Guard, all these things, you know, that's a very smart thing to do would be to take an extra pair or two of socks.
I mean, even if nothing else, you never know if you're hiking or whatever. You might just step in a puddle and not realize it.
That's true too.
But I think most hikers, I would think most hikers probably handle that kind of stuff. But
the average person may not know.
I never did before.
But I appreciate you coming today. I learned a lot.
You never thought there was so much to say about feet.
And if you guys missed the beginning of the show, go back to the Facebook page on WEAC TV 24 or YouTube and go back and watch it, because very interesting stuff. And don't forget about the Alabama Cares monthly events that we have, the community health series that we have. We just had ours yesterday. We actually had, it's nutrition month. So we actually had, if you guys remember Mandy Williams that was on the show the other week, she actually did a cooking demonstration for us. It was really good.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was awesome. And April is Parkinson's and Autism Awareness Month. So we're actually going to have, I think, 3 speakers in April. I think we have a couple that are going to be talking about autism and some service services they provide. And also a lady, Katie Fordham, I know that you guys have seen her before, she's been on the show before, but she's going to be talking about Parkinson's as well. So with that, I guess we're going to sign off here, and we got to do a Friday dance because every person does a Friday. We have to do because it's Friday. You have to do a dance. Yay! She did it! Yay! So happy Friday to everyone. We wish you all the best, and we'll see you here next Friday on WEAC TV 24 Rise and Shine with Alabama Cares program. Have a wonderful weekend.